Outside in the street, the carpet of winter had come. Bobo looked out through the window and thought how heavy the first snowfall was. He also thought how good it was because his garden looked the same as everybody else's. What to do today, he thought. He sipped on a cup of tea and then he decided he would go and have a bit of fun with Charlie. He dressed quickly and made his way around to Charlie's house. It was about 6 in the morning, and as Bobo walked up the street to Charlie's house, he looked back and saw that he had left the first footprints in the snow in the street. It was a nice feeling to have made the first impression of life on winter's white blanket. When he arrived at Charlie's house, he stood underneath Charlie's bedroom window. He called out a few times, but got no reply. He called a little louder, waking the people next door up before he rolled a few snowballs and threw them up at Charlie's window pane. Charlie eventually opened the window to see what was going on. "Come on, Charlie, I want to show you something," said Bobo, standing on the pavement below. Upstairs, Charlie yawned and he said, What time is it?" "It's time we're on our way, Charlie. Hurry up. Get some clothes on before it's too late," Bobo replied. "Too late for what?" Charlie asked. "Too late for a date with the pretty few girls." Charlie closed the window and was out the front door almost immediately. There he stood, half dazed, at 6:30, half dressed and still half asleep, and with a half puzzled look on his face. "Where are we going, Bobo?" he said. "Nowhere with you and those pink fluffy slippers, Charlie. For goodness sake, go and put some decent shoes on your feet." "Oh, okay, Bobo," Charlie said, making a fist and stretching his arms up in the air. When he returned, Bobo said, "Follow me." Bobo walked down the street so fast that Charlie had trouble keeping up with him. Finally, Bobo stopped outside the corner shop and started to climb up the drain pipe. Then he scrambled up to the roof. Charlie followed and was soon up there with Bobo looking down on the street below. Charlie looked at Bobo for a few moments and then he said, "Is this what you want to show me, Bobo?" Bobo shook the snow from his hat and he said, "Everybody will soon be on their way to the factory." Charlie wasn't amused. "What are you on about, Bobo?" "Listen, Charlie, when was the last time you saw snow this thick?" Bobo asked. Charlie had to think for a minute or two, or a minute or three. Bobo began to push all the snow over to the edge of the roof. Charlie was helping him, but still hadn't got a clue what he was doing. "Wait for my signal, Charlie," Bobo said. The first group of factory workers passed by with caps and overcoats. Then down the street they came, a group of young girls, arm in arm on their way to work for their very first time. Bobo could hardly keep a straight face with the anticipation of what was about to happen. He waited until the girls were directly underneath the roof of the shop, and then he gave the signal. He started pushing an avalanche of snow over the edge, and with Charlie's help they had managed to push a good dump of snow over the unsuspecting passers-by who were screaming and crying. The young girls were soaked to the skin and had to return home for a change of clothes. Bobo and Charlie buckled over in fits of laughter and waited for their next victims to pass by. And all the fun and mayhem, Bobo hadn't seen the police van that had been sitting right opposite the shop, watching the carry-on. Somebody must have informed them. 3 big pillars got out of the police car and were making their way across to the corner shop. But Bobo spotted them, and he told Charlie to make a run for it. By the time Charlie had understood what was going on, Bobo had slid down the drain pipe and was halfway home, but poor Charlie was so surprised to see the police climb up the drain pipe that he said, "Sorry, officers, but there's no more snow left. You'll have to come back tomorrow." Bobo watched from the distance as Charlie was escorted to the police van and taken away. He felt guilty and didn't know what to do. He went home and had some breakfast, and he thought about how he could help Charlie. After he changed his clothes, he went to the phone box in the town and he rang the police. Hello, could I speak with the officer in charge? I'm still proud of you, Charlie, jumping out of the police van and making a run for freedom. I never thought you had it in you, said Bobo. Who told you I jumped out? Charlie said. It was on the midday news, Charlie, Bobo said. You're kidding, aren't you, Bobo? Said Charlie. Yeah, Charlie, come on, let's go and I'll buy you a drink. Come on. You're on. They both made their way to the local and they sat all night with Charlie telling all the boys about his scuffle with the law. I gave those cops something to remember me by. You should have seen me move. After they got up on their feet, I swung an uppercut to the jaw of the biggest policeman with a shimmy, then a shimmy and a shimmy to the left and the right, and I threw a wicked combination and 3 cops ran back to their van, screaming like scolded cats.